The last 3 times they've played, they've been bad games. I mean, bad. Last year was a Mullins game, bad game. The year before that was the playoff game, not a close game. Before that was the Aaron Rodgers fumbles sacked in front of the end zone on like the first series. Playoff game was the game that Jimmy went 6 for 8 in.
NFC Championship.
Last time the Niners were in Levi Stadium, fans. And then 19, the other regular season game, I looked it up today, Jimmy 14 of 20 for 253. So Garoppolo in the last 2 meetings, 20 of 28 for over 300 yards against the Packers.
Yeah, in a weird way, Jimmy took a lot of shit in that NFC Championship game, right?
Yeah.
He threw 8 attempts. I do have the thought, like, one huge advantage that the Niners have had when they've been full strength.
We're glad you're watching this video. Like it and subscribe to our channel.
Do you know that stats show 50% of you are not subscribed to our channel? Go subscribe.
We're sponsored by Tito's Handmade Vodka.
#1 vodka in America.
And check out our podcast in the description below.
Do it over against the Aaron Rodgers teams, and they've been good, right? Rodgers have been good basically this whole decade. He has played the Niners when they've been shitty, and he's killed them. He did last year when they got 7 guys on the COVID list, and it turned out they were all false positives, and they destroyed them. But they're probably destroying them either way because Jimmy was hurt. It wouldn't have been a game. I'm not trying to make an excuse. But when the Niners have been good and the Packers have been good, it happened with Harbaugh, and then it happened the 1 year with Kyle. The Niners have had true ownership over them. Like, they have had other teams that them in Seattle, coin flip game, right? It just, if they play the Rams or Seattle, to me, in a playoff game, I'd be like, I don't feel confident. It is a weird thing that I think a lot of Niner fans, and rightfully so, if the team is playing well, they don't view the Packers in a weird way like as an equal. Not saying that Rodgers is, an elite player for sure. I'm just saying when the teams play, the Niners consistently get the best of them when they're both double-digit win teams. It's kind of crazy. And do you know what it gets back to? Fundamentally, Kyle Shanahan, like Jim Harbaugh, they have different styles. Jim ran power run scheme. Kyle runs a zone run scheme. But they both run a run scheme where they want to shove it down your throat. What was the tweet you retweeted a couple weeks ago about Jim and aerial versus ground troops or something? It was a great tweet about like how he wanted to be like General McCarthy, hit you from the ground.
Then what was it?
It was incredible. But they have the same philosophy where they run it down your throat. And you watched last night, the Packers' problem, and it's not Aaron Rodgers' fault, they have been one of the softest defenses for his whole stretch. Their offense has not been their problem. But when you can just run it down their throat, control the clock, as they did in the NFC Championship game, it almost defeats and neutralizes their greatest strength, which is their quarterback. And then for whatever reason, he hasn't just destroyed them. Were you at the game? It would have been 2013 at Candlestick. Someone DM'd me this the other day. They said, John, what's the best pass you've ever seen in person? And I say, so without hesitation, it's Aaron Rodgers, week 1, against the 49ers at Levi Stadium, rolling to his left, throwing to Jordy Nelson on the sideline. And the Niners ended up winning that game, I think, 28-27. Anquan Bolden had like 350 yards receiving. Kaepernick, Joe Staley, and Clay Matthews got into a fight. Remember that? I think you were there. I think I'm probably by sitting next to you. But it just, the Niners could always out physical them. And watching last night, they rehired Joe Barry, who's a Lane Kiffin, Monty Kiffin. Mike Tomlin and Raheem Morris talked a lot about him on that podcast. He was one of that crew with Raheem and Mike Tomlin, working for Gruden and Monty. I guess it would have been Peyton's old coach, Dungy. And then he's worked for McVay, but I don't think he's exactly some dynamic defensive coordinator because they didn't look great on defense last night.
No, I think this is where Javon Kinlaw comes back into play, right? The way he played against the Eagles, it was a different game. And we saw Detroit. It was a little weird because Detroit has the lead, then they get behind, and Detroit couldn't really, running the football in the second half wasn't really an option for them on Monday night. But I think we saw a major difference, and you and I talked about it on Sunday, when Javon Kinlaw is there and when Javon Kinlaw isn't there. And we know they have Aaron Rodgers. We know they have Devontae. To me, if they can't run the football, Green Bay, then they're like, you are going to be able to score on them. I think the Niners offense looks different this week than it looked against Philly. I think Philly, it got to the point. They didn't give up a sack. They didn't turn it over. Jimmy didn't throw a pick, right? This game, you might need to be a little more dynamic because maybe Green Bay is a more, because the quarterback's better. But I do think they're going to look better offensively this week. And I think having Kinlaw back is a big part of being that team that you're talking about. Because it's not like the Niners got 5 healthy running backs ready to roll this week.
Well,
But all the players they have play that style.
One major difference is that, bringing up that 2013 game, Clay Matthews was still an elite player, and he was a pass rusher, a front seven player. Last year, or I guess when they were good 2 years ago, we talked a lot about the Smith brothers, and the better version of the Smith brothers for the Packers is Za'Darius. He's hurt.
Yeah.
He's got a bad back. He missed last night.
Did he play week 1?
I don't know, but he definitely didn't play yesterday, and I don't know if he's playing this week. So he's by far, to me, their best defensive player in terms of the front seven. I think Jair Alexander, their corner, is really good. But
you know who's not? Kevin King.
Stinks. He's not any good, but it's like...
I thought he was good. Quick moment to tell you to get in our DraftKings game. It's linked below. Play any game, really. Use the code HAM when you sign up at DraftKings.
Do you want to gamble? I know I do. And where I do it, mybookie.ag, promo code HAM1. Yeah, I thought he was going to be good, too. I actually really liked him. He's a Washington guy, right?
Yeah.
No fly zone? Or that was the Broncos. Didn't the Washington have a little
Yeah, I forget.
DBU?
I can't keep track of every DB nickname.
There's a lot of them flying around. Listen, the Niners, to me, are the better team right now when you factor in injuries and everything, because they're missing Bakhtiari too. So you just go, okay, who are the 5 best Packers? Well, we know who 1 and 2 are. You could argue 3 and 4. It might be Jair, but I would say Bakhtiari and Za'Darius are top 5. Like, that's their 5. That's their core blue chippers, and that's a damn good blue chip, right? You got a star quarterback who's one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. You got the best wide receiver. You got one of the best left tackles in the league. You got a star pass rusher and a star corner. The problem is you're missing 2 of those 5. One protects Aaron, and the other rushes the passer. Like, that's... If I was gonna choose, I'd be like, if I had to miss a guy, as much as this sucks, I would remove Devontae and keep one of the fronts, either Bakhtiari or Za'Darius, right? Because I can make things happen with my great quarterback. I can't overcome no pass rush. Someone did a tweet graph last night, probably about mid-game, when it looked like, could the Packers lose? Because it was 17-14 and a half. And it was a picture of Jared Goff, 4 passes. There wasn't a soul around him. And it's like, the knock on the Packers, which is crazy, right? When you think the Green Bay Packers, it's cold, it's tough. Their team is a little soft.
Yeah. Alec, where'd this one go? Somebody said Tanyan. Tanyan, who always shows up when he's not on my DraftKings team.
I mean, he's a good player, but I mean,
Yeah.
he wouldn't be better than any of the guys I just listed.
No.
He is good though. I'm not a Tanyan hater.
Yeah, I mean, look,
him and George are buddies now, I think. Right?
Well, George is. How about Gronk took credit for the Hawkinson?
Yeah.
The Hawkinson catch?
That guy's pretty sweet.
He is. Yeah, I mean, look, I think what's been really interesting about the 2 games that the Niners were full strength in, one was that it was against Aaron. That you go, okay, even if you're a Niner team, particularly that team in 19, you and I thought was a little overrated, that Packers team in 19.
Yeah.
We thought they were better in some ways in 20, right?
They were for sure. Well, he was way better.
Yeah, he was. That 19 team, though, usually great quarterbacks, I don't know if there's some research on this. Maybe you'd have to do a little. How often do great quarterbacks get blown out? Like, blown out.
So actually, I saw a stat. It's happened to Aaron a fair amount in his career.
Well, and it's what's weird, right? It's like, I mean, remember the Bucks did it to them?
You know that Derek Carr is more. And again, your defense has to make a stop. Has more comeback wins in his career than Aaron. Like, Aaron's not a big comeback win guy, but is that a little bit like Tiger Woods has only won a major beside that Masters in 19? He had never won from coming from behind.
Because
Aaron has a lot of wins. He's always ahead.
Yeah.
But he does not have a lot of comeback wins. And I guess you can nitpick the stat going, he has let them on drives. There's been more time in their defense. He's played with bad defenses.
Yeah, see, I don't think – that's an I had not heard that stat.
Stafford too. Now, granted, like the Raiders and the Lions, they're down, 80% more than the Packers have been in his career. Like, he's up a lot in the fourth quarter, right?
I don't see. I'm not sure what I think it means. I don't think it means that Aaron's, flawed in that way.
Well, the question I got was, is he a front runner a little bit? Like, does he just?
Yeah. See, I don't think that about him. But
I
his
feel
teams
like
get, but
I feel
they're
he's competitive too.
yeah, but again, usually if something is uneven, but one team has a great quarterback, he can make up the difference. It's why Kyle Shanahan's always talking about a top 5 quarterback. And yet, I mean,
Remember the Cardinals playoff game against Arians where he threw the one out of his end zone to get him like the 40?
Yeah, I
Then he
do.
gets
I
the
was
Hail
in
Mary.
Arizona for that. I was at an Arizona bar watching that game. It was bananas.
He lost that game though, right?
Yeah.
Not he didn't, but
No,
I mean their team
they.
lost.
Yeah.
That's a good example.
I do think, but to me, that's an example of like, if Aaron Rodgers isn't the quarterback, then that game's not close. Like, that is what a great quarterback does, is he takes his team
Yeah, the
and he gives them
quarterback
a shot.
there's a safety or something. He doesn't even make that throw out of the end zone. I remember
Yeah.
the end zone throw was just as cool as the Hail Mary.
Those are 2 of the greatest throws that have ever been combined in one game. Anyway, I think
100%.
going back and watching the Niner game, I feel a little better about them than I did initially after that Eagle game, because I think they played better. Because I think Philly is going to wear well, as we've been saying. Like, what's a tougher team to run against, Philadelphia or Green Bay? I think it's going to prove to be Philadelphia.
Yeah, way better D line. With Za'Darius out.
Well, Brandon Graham got one out.
Yeah. Popped his Achilles.
A lot of just so
But
many.
but they have more reinforcements. Like Brandon Graham's backup got $40 million.
Right. They gave out a lot of $40 million contracts.
Well, they like doing the Parag Jed move with the Harbaugh core. That entire team was extended like 2 years left on their deals. Like, God, how's Patrick Willis the 4th highest paid linebacker? They had all these guys. Frank Gore's the 7th highest paid running back. Vernon Davis, like, it is the move to keep people cheap.
Yeah. And luckily, cheap to an NFL team is rich to the player. $40 million.
You got to draft. The key is to hit on 3 or 4 picks after the first round, and then you're in position to kind of offer them some money. And most guys are not, because the majority of players are not going to be Michael Thomas, let's say, who views him like, I'm the best wide receiver in the league. Like, even if I'm a good player, it's like, well, they are offering you 40. You might be able to get 60, but what if in the next 3 months you shatter your foot?
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I'll just take can I get 42?
I had that
take
thought.
41. You're like, I'm in.
When I heard the Josh Sweat $40 million contract, I was like, that dude just got $40 million. He just didn't have $40 million, and now he's getting 40. Not all of it right now, but now he's getting $40 million.
But if we're, let's say, in his corner, the conversation is, Josh, cap's going to go right up. You are 3 months away. Again, we got to make it past that.
This is what Rich Paul would say.
Could we get to $67 million? And I go, I have identified 5 teams that are desperate for pass rushers. You're a high character guy. You might be able to get.
He's also
8.
seen half the league get hurt in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah. I'll never blame anyone from signing the check.